Folks, welcome to the alignment space. Once again, we are continuing with the series on the call to unpack this thing called the call. What is it and what does it mean? You remember in the first part we spoke about the call as the burning bush of your soul. Yesterday we were looking at the call as this persistent, perennial, continuing thing. Today we are looking at the call as something that is perpetual. It is continuing. It is forever flowing, and it is forever living. And therefore, let us go deeper into understanding and unpacking this thing. Please, folks, leave your comments on the comment section of this video. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and put a notification so that when we have our next video coming up, you can then be notified so that you continue to be empowered. To all the alignment family, thank you for your faithfulness and your support. What is the call? The perpetual nature of the call. Thank you. It must be perpetual. The issue about call is that it's never ending. Remember the bush, Moses' bush was not burning up. But also remember Leviticus chapter 6. The fire must be kept burning on the altar and never go out, never ever go out. I promise you, this thing never ends. It is perpetual. It runs forever. That is why, are you aware that in terms of our theology, we do not ordain ministers in the order of Aaron and Levi? We don't. We ordain ministers to the order of Melchizedek, who is a priest in the same lineage with the high priest, who is Christ. You know why we go with Melchizedek and not Aaron and Levi? It is because Aaron was a father of a lineage. And according to the plans that were made by the law, which means made by man, the lineage, the children of Aaron, born physically of Aaron, were automatically called the priests or appointed the priests in the tabernacle. And the descendants of Levi, anybody who by default of being born of Levi was then an assistant to Aaron's brothers or children. And therefore they were there by virtue of their biological birth. But the other thing, we do not do such thing as ordaining people to Levi and Aaron's order, is because Aaron died, we are told. Levi died, we are told. But Melchizedek rocked up out of nowhere. Okay. We meet him as the king of Salem, who is not only the king, but also the priest who had the authority and the power and the privilege of blessing the one who is the patriarch number one of the children of Israel, that is Abraham. And therefore, if Abraham knelt before Melchizedek as the king and the priest, it means Abraham was less than Melchizedek. And because Abraham gave 10% to Melchizedek, it means all the children of Abraham were under the authority of the one that blessed their great-great-grandfather, and therefore their lineage is subject to the authority of the one who has got no lineage. But the other mysterious thing about Melchizedek is because we are never told what happened to Melchizedek. He lived eternally, and we don't even have his grave. But the other thing about Melchizedek and why we ordain ministers to the order of Melchizedek, it is because Levi and Aaron were priests and assistant priests by birth, biologically organized and orchestrated. But Melchizedek did not come from the tribe of Levi or the children of Aaron. He came from an unknown. He was the first in his lineage. And Jesus himself, much as he descended from David, but he was not of the descendants of Levi. Are you aware? He was the one from Judah. And therefore, according to the Old Testament, Jesus wouldn't be a priest, would he? Because he was not coming from Aaron or Levi. He came from a different type of tribe, and yet he became the priest and the high priest who lives forever. And how does that feature in and help us? It helps us, those who are the first in their family. You know, psychology studies say to us families live in circles, isn't it? So you would have others being family of lawyers, accountants, and in our family, we are family of priests, right? So me and him don't really count in what I'm giving you now. But you have people, who can I make an example with that I know for sure? You have a Rapahlele.
Yeah.
Who else is Rapahlele in our church except Norman? It is only him. I'm not talking here about the Olifers of this church. I'm not talking about the stories of this church. No. The Diutlwileng and the Dandalas of this. No, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the Norman Rapahleles. Who are there simply because God, through God's grace, decided that they might be out of the wrong tribe, but by the grace of God and the Spirit of God, their soul was poured out by the burning fire of the mercy of God, and they identified their burning bush, and they say, I am here and I am the only one. And in fact, I come from a family of drunkards, family of brokenness, family of nobodies, and yet the Lord called me. Melchizedek accommodates people like those who cannot claim, like my brother and I can claim, that you go to the third generation above us, you will find a priest. The grace and the Spirit of God. So don't feel lonely. You are one of us.